Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to take you back to the last fuel crisis in the 1970s. This was a time when Edmonton garnered much attention for its forward thinking in advancing electric transit over the internal combustion engine. The trolley system was expanded and LRT was begun. The fuel crisis that we're headed towards today will be much more permanent. It's time again to show leadership. In 1973, I was hired as the first supervisor of transit development. I was brought to Edmonton from one of the major civil engineering consulting firms in Ontario because of my familiarity with the new generation light rail systems appearing in Europe. I worked for ETS for 11 years until moving to BC in 1984 as manager of operations for SkyTrain. My first assignment on arrival in Edmonton was to set up a time transfer system and integrate the planned LRT with surface transit routes. This involved the construction of transit centres at major traffic generators. Along with this, a study was done comparing diesel and trolley buses, which showed a 10% speed advantage for trolleys due to their superior acceleration and braking performance. 9 trolleys doing the work of 10 diesels. The conclusion was that trolleys should be used on main radial and cross-town routes linking the transit centres with downtown and with each other. The trolley system, as it then existed, essentially operated in main corridors that had well-established travel patterns, and commercial strip development was a characteristic of these routes. This still holds true today and is the basis of our BRZs. The trolley system was, and still is, a natural fit for connecting the transit centres and providing feeder links to LRT stations. On such main lines, often touted flexibility of the diesel bus for being able to alter routes and schedules from month to month is of no practical value. In fact, the threat of frequent change has been found to discourage potential passengers. Across the industry, an increase in ridership of 15 to 20% is recorded when modes using substantial infrastructure, such as trolley, streetcar, and LRT, are used. Planning standards of the 1970s called for linking transit centres with downtown and with each other, having trolley buses on 10-minute headway all day, with bus lanes where possible and signal priority, and of course eventually moving towards conversion to LRT as demand increased. It's not surprising that the recent Strategic Ridership Review recommends exactly that, 10-minute headways on mainline routes. Since all the other factors remain the same today, trolley buses would appear to be the vehicle of choice, with the articulated version offering the most productive and therefore the most economical solution. In the 70s and 80s, several trolley extensions were made in keeping with this plan, notably Southgate, Kingsway, Westmount, and along 107th and 118th Avenues to Jasper Place. What was lacking to complete these proposals were lines to Northgate, Abbotsfield, and West Jasper Place, where West Edmonton Mall is now. Edmonton was looked upon as a leader in urban transit, and delegations came from all over North America and even from as far away as Saudi Arabia to learn from ETS. Now we hear that Abu Dhabi in Saudi Arabia, a nation rich in oil, is looking at electric transit, including trolleys. But here in Edmonton, our once proud system is being run into the ground. We need to move ourselves forward and advance electric transit again. Oil-based transportation is the way of the 1950s, not the 21st century. Cities in the United States report that operating costs for trolley buses are well below diesels. Philadelphia reports $2.54 a mile for trolleys and $2.76 for diesels. The gap is growing. By making wise decisions like building a new trolley fleet and applying our expertise to manage that fleet up into beyond industrial standards, we can contribute to a healthy future for our city. Scrapping our present valuable investment in infrastructure does nothing but put the burden on future generations to build up what we have destroyed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clark.